Hello, and welcome to Factorio. My name is Trismegistus, and this series is my series where I'm going up with a standard set of blueprints. I managed to delete my camera from the stream. Bit of a panic setting it up. Hopefully, it looks okay. Probably a different sort of place. But anyway, that hopefully is okay. I was fiddling about with some settings trying to make it better. But it seems to blow me out, and I don't know why. As in, I look even paler than I actually am. Anyway, yes, so this series is a series where I'm trying to come up with a sort of standard set of blueprints for myself. I don't have a standard set of blueprints, and I never have. I always enjoy, I enjoy the process of designing a great deal. In fact, I may just tweak that. I seem to be a bit bigger. I wonder if that'll work. Is that better? Yes. So I enjoy the process of designing. So I don't. I tend to do it every time. I tend to design new every time I play the game. But I did a mega base attempt, my first ever, and it was very clear from that not having some standard blueprints meant that took a lot longer. I couldn't really even do the mega base bit until quite a way into the series of streams. So yesterday, what we focused on was rail, and I should have. Have I left it here? Yeah, I have. What did I put in there? Oh, I've got it twice then. Okay. So this was the set of blueprints for camping yesterday. I hadn't named them. This morning I went through and sort of named them all. So we've basically got. Well, let's just run through them. We've got a couple of standard trains, because this is the trains that this set is designed for, because this is typically what I do. In my normal playthroughs is 141 trains. We'll probably have to do another one for uranium, but we'll do that later. We then got standard straight bit of rail, which tiles. It's rotationally symmetric, which is a trick I have never really done before. But basically, by offsetting these, it becomes rotationally symmetric. And that also helps with a lot of the other blueprints. So basically, we've then got a corner. I got confused this morning, and I was thinking, oh, I forgot to do the other corner. But of course, the other corner is just this rotated round, especially with them being rotationally symmetric. So we've got two corners in one, for the price of one. We've then got two branches. I've called this left branch because it's sort of, it's arbitrary when you think about it, because it's then a right branch if you turn it around. But that branch is off if you wanted to just go straight up. And that branch is off if you wanted to go straight down. Of course, they work the other way around as well. So this would bring you into the rail system, and this would bring you into the rail system that way. So you've got all your options there covered. Then we've got your T-junction, which is the one I would normally use. It does have a chain signal there, so we'll just create that just so that I can show that. You wouldn't put these so close together, ideally. But you got your T-junction. It's designed to fit into that standard spacing distance I've done there. It's not what I normally do, but this makes more sense, I think. We then got the dreaded Crossroads. I say dreaded because you should avoid Crossroads as much as you can. Let's get a bit of straight rail so I can continue putting these down. Again, it's designed to fit into this space here, but the power poles don't match because you can't get them to go the full distance, and it all gets a bit weird. So you would have to tidy this up if you were using a Crossroads. You could probably take those two out, actually. But I would never recommend using Crossroads. Always try and use T-junctions instead. We've then got diagonal rails. Now, diagonal rails are a personal choice. Entirely sort of optional. You can do every journey you want and need to do with straight rail. But I like to have diagonals and use diagonals. And these I did fiddle with this morning. So this morning I fixed the issue that these didn't tile properly. So basically, That's your transition, or these you do need opposites. So we've then got that transition like that, because those two are not the same. And obviously you can make a normal corner with two of them. Well, you've got a proper corner as well. But those two are not the same. So that's a different corner to that one. One lets you go up, one lets you get it down, or sort of vice versa. And then you got your actual diagonal, and I say now it does tile properly, so it's rotationally symmetric now again. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. It's also the same, in quotes. The game gets a bit funny with these, but it's the same that way. I mean, it isn't, because you've got those are on top and those are by the side. But you know what I mean by the same is that if we put this on, it matches here, so that's a perfect match. And of course, it was the perfect match on there. It also matches this version. So if you're using that, if you turn it round, it matches here as well. And this one does now as well. So these can just be popped on to any combination of diagonal. Obviously, you need it to be on that one that you've got going on. Obviously, you wouldn't create that mess, but. I then also, while I was at it, made this one, and this is a branch. And I said I wasn't going to do this yesterday, but I've added a branch, and it's perfectly lined up again. So it fits in between the two, like that one does. And we got the two branches again. You do have to have the two, because they're not rotationally symmetric. So you've got use it as an input and an output. And that's basically, so I was filling about this morning. Tidying them all up, naming them, all that sort of stuff. We also started on stations, and I got incredibly confused, and I couldn't work out why I was so confused, because I couldn't seem to make a train station that looked like the train stations I normally do. And I know it's not the best design, I know it's big space, and you can do stackers with diagonal rail, and they do look awesome, but I never find them to save you that much space. So I just do this shape here, but I got really confused. So I went to another save file. I think this was on the Megabase, but I can't remember now. And looked at how I'd done it in the Megabase, because I knew I'd done them normally for there. And it's all to do with this. This was the bit that was really confusing me. And obviously, you don't need the gap here and stuff, You can take these up and... Oh, well, not there. Yeah, so you could put them there. There's absolutely no problem with doing that. I just find it looks better like that. Also, if we... I mean, for some bizarre reason, we were doing something weird with, putting these in. It's then the same distance apart. We wouldn't... I mean, I can't think of any circumstance where you would do that. So the other thing I did this morning, I'll get rid of this because it was just to show you, just so that I could say what it was again. Get rid of all that. I'm obviously in creative mod, which gives you a load of cheat stuff to basically help you test it out, and you can build things instantaneously, and you don't need any inventory particularly, and blah 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 blah. So it's just easy to design in this with this mod on. But I didn't have this. What I had yesterday, so what the blueprint is... Where is it? There it is. So the blueprint is this bit. So I'll line this up so it's the same position there. That's the blueprint we developed yesterday. I haven't done anything to that. It's the same. I did think about maybe making it so that it could fit 282 trains in. But I decided against that. We'll just design this system that it works with 141 trains, and that's it, basically. But the idea is this is a generic station, right? And my plan is you then come along and you basically add in the type of arrangement that you want here. And I put this in because this is like my default way of doing it, roughly. In actuality, I do it all sorts of different ways, and that's part of the problem and why I want the standard set of blueprints. I do all sorts of stuff. These purple carriages are just duplicating carriages, so it basically lets you... if I turned alt mode off because it... I find that with the inserters on and this thing, it gets very busy, so I thought that was a bit easier to see what this is. But this purple one here, it just auto-generates stuff, and this lets you do it. And what you can see here is that when you do this arrangement, assuming you've got boosted, you need the stack bonus, so the 1+2 stack bonus, but it fills a yellow belt, basically. So if you get this arrangement with the stack bonuses, which are quite cheap and easy to get, it fills a yellow belt, basically because these guys pull out 6, and these guys move 6. Now, it's worth having, I always think it's worth, you can do it with just the normals, same effect will happen, but I find it's worth having the fasts because obviously in reality your train's going to go away and go on some journey and come back again, and you know you're going to be using these as buffers, and so having the fast inserters just guarantees that this will fill, and these will always have, almost certainly always have more stuff in, because actually this will back up and these guys won't run continuously. And I say, so it's worth having the fast inserters usually, especially when you go to red belt. So if we were to upgrade this to red belt, it shouldn't fill it because it's not getting enough material, but what you can then do, so if we just upgrade that, actually I need to do all of it, sorry. So this needs to be a fast splitter, this needs to be a fast underground. There we go. So again, it's not going to fill it because the yellows aren't fast enough, but you can then swap them in and it fills it again. You see, so it's a quick and easy one. And you have the yellow version basically because that's what you'll probably have more of in the early game. You know, when you're first setting these up, you'll have loads of yellow inserters, but not so many blues. But eventually you'll get plenty of blues and you can put them in. And then when you're into your main train system, I usually make them stack inserters just so that the trains are flowing through quicker. However, I'm not entirely convinced that this is a good design, particularly early game. Because what tends to happen, I find, when I do my early train system is I'm probably not putting them in their final place. So you end up with chests and chests and chests of material. You know, these would fill up and it's 4,800 per chest. So you've then got 6 lots of, you know, 5,000 basically. 500. So that's 3,000. And then you got both sides. So it's 6,000 per wagon. So 6, 12, 18, 24. You've got 24,000, you know, plates, or, you know, half of that for ore. Which is a lot of stuff to just get rid of and wait to dissipate. Also, I wouldn't normally, I mean, another thing I do is sometimes is, as I say, and this is why I need standard blueprints, is that I wouldn't actually do that necessarily. Instead, I might do something like that, and maybe have that one go in there. Oops. Like that, and that one that go in there, because these effectively, the balancers act as like mergers as well. So if, like, you know, put that in there. So you're effectively getting more stuff out, and the fact that it balances cancels out. Or sometimes I would basically put them into side load them together. In fact, I would normally, I do it there, side load them together and do it that way. You see, I do it all sorts of different ways, and that's part of the problem. So I'm going to do all those. So what I'm thinking for the standard blueprint, as I say, is a sort of set. Okay, set of versions of this, not including the balancer. The balancer is a separate thing. You can do that to your heart's content as much as you want. But it's a set of these with different scale to them. So we'll have the 6th one. And basically, because this is, you notice I do the thing with the lights there so that they're, you know, uneven, as it were. But also when I do nuclear, what I usually do is that'll be a fluid wagon full of sulfuric acid. And because it's back and front, it has to be symmetrical. So you end up with a fluid wagon there and a fluid wagon there. Or you can put them in the middle. But so these would be the ones that are actually unloading the uranium. But you need so little uranium, you know, having only half a train isn't a problem. But then if we put that, if we make it this 2-train block, because then also it would work if you're doing a 1-2 train or something like that. You could just plop these down. And then you can just put it on as many times as you want. So if you just want to unload, you know, from 2 wagons or something, you've got that option. If you want to do 4, you just put 2 next to each other. If you want to do both sides unloading, you can put them on easily. Because this bit is rotationally symmetrical then. So we will include, I say we'll not include the balancer, but we'll include the bit of belt. So this effectively is our unloader, but we'll have a range of them because there are different ways of doing unloading. But say we won't go. Well, I'm not going to do the like the smart versions yet. That's for later game basically. So I won't do them now. But basically this is like the train unloading. And also, I mean, I could do them in reverse, I guess. Would that be worth doing? Because obviously loading is literally the opposite way around. So I would typically have fast inserters going into the train, and then just load normal inserters again because you've not got very many of them. So we've got. I might need some different symbol combinations to help it a bit more, make it a bit clearer. But then obviously this wouldn't be, what you'd probably be doing is using a, should I do that? Because we could put in a, one of the, if you're doing all 6 chests, what you should really do is use like a 1 to 6 balancer. You don't really need the belts. Because people, I mean, an easy way of doing it is, you know, you do something like this, but it's not an even spread. It gives like a very uneven distribution, and that's not really what you want for the trains. Should I include the balancer? Yeah, let's include the balancer. Okay. We need to demote it all though. So we need this to be... in fact, I don't want to include them. So we want... Oh, we want blue to go to yellow. We want blue to go to yellow. Blue to go to yellow. So not including bouncer on the other way, but I have for this, you know, because that's, you know, it's a bit painful doing balances. But that would be a loading one then, you see, and it's the six chest equivalent. But say we don't necessarily want, I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to do that volume of loading and unloading, because to say you end up, it's not so bad on the other end, because you're going to mine out the patch basically. That's going to be your ultimate goal. So it's not too bad having it on that end, because you know it just means there's a lot of stuff there. And I do want to do, when I do the smart ones, I want to do them properly smart, as in, because it's quite common. What most people do, it's you add up everything in all of the system, but if you've got an uneven load, it's actually unhelpful doing that. So I want to do them proper smart. So what we got there, basically, we've got an unloader and a loader. So this will take one lane in and put it into 6 boxes. This will take a wagon and unload it into 6 boxes. But I say we want to do like a four chest one. I think. But you can do another alternative altogether is to basically, let's think, I can never remember how to do it properly. Oops. Oops. Because you can put them, is this right? So you can basically put them onto inserter, whatchamacallit, these. Because if you put that like that, is that right? Would that give 2 belts out? Might want to side load them maybe? I could never remember how much you get out. Yeah, it's not enough to fill. I mean, obviously, as I say, you can only fill it with the 6 inserters. So is it worth doing that? Or is that a sort of a later... It's not really worth bothering with that, is it? We probably want something like that when we've got stack inserters. So I'll chuck this over here. Because you can't really fill it without stack inserters anyway. You know, so you would need to... If you do that... So it'll basically... I mean, that's all too slow, isn't it? But if we... Something like that. Probably better doing that with just one-sided, maybe? Obviously, those need to be reds as well. So you do get tiny little stutter because... Oh, no, it seems to be full now. You often get a stutter because the thing... It has that swing that it has to do, so it won't quite fill... It won't quite be you know, entire... It's not continuous necessarily because of the swing arm, basically. In fact, I think if we go to blues, we'll actually see that effect. We want blue with these. Because the time it takes for the arm to swing back and forth, there you go, you see. So you're not getting you're getting a tiny little gap because this holds 12 eventually once you got all your bonuses. And of course, it's... Because what happens with the red, it's good because the red, because basically the time it takes for that last little plate there to come onto the belt is the time it takes to swing with the red. But with the blue, it's too fast. It's not far off though, you know, it's almost a full belt. It's because this does 45 items a minute and these only do 12. So it's like the mismatch of the numbers effectively. So we could have something like that. But I'm thinking more in terms of, let's say, we need to do the yellow ones. Because this is meant for early, you know, we're only really doing the early game stuff anyway. I'm thinking more in terms of maybe having a 4-box version. Oops. No, I always get these wrong. It should be on that side, I believe. I suppose the other point to note on that is not technically it's not remote rotationally symmetric, is it? Because that is not equivalent. Oh no, it is. No, it moves down because it always puts it on like the right-hand side. So effectively that one is putting on the right. Yeah, so it's okay there. It just occurred to me that, and that's fine. That one obviously is because it's balanced, so that's fine. And there you go. You see that inserter is putting on the right-hand side. You see, this is why I usually do the 6 boxes, if I'm totally honest, because you then get a properly saturated belt. I mean, what we could do is think in terms of... Because effectively, you know, if you did double-sided, it would be 12. So we could do it more like... Maybe this version is a, you know... Because then you've effectively got 4 inserters. So it's something like... What a mess are you making there? But then you've got too many inserters, so... So if you're doing a version like that, you only really need 3 and 3. I mean, these go a bit because the things are full. So if I just, they go a little bit weird, but yeah. So they're not running continuously, but it's not far off, sort of thing. Yeah, I think if we do like a half-size one, but it's on both sides of the So it's half the volume coming out, basically. How can we make it look reasonably sort of tidy? So if I put this down... Oops. Let's see if I get the belts the right way. Is that then coming out roughly out the middle? Maybe if I move it one up. So it's that. And that. And then you'd probably be balancing. I mean, the other thing you can do, you feed them into these things and it just auto, sorts it out, basically. Oops. Not sure what I touched there. I'm liking this idea less and less, because what really is the difference between that and that? There's no difference really, is there? It's just that it's spread across two sides and you got extra material cost for the underground, so that's not really any better. You've got less material in the chests, in a sense, but you have here. If you only do it on one side, this is the same as like all of this. So what's the point of this? There isn't really any, is there? Okay, I think we do need something, a version of something like that. But, like just one side of it. For low volume unloading, say for example nuclear or something like that. And it's an upgradable one. You're just putting it in at this level because you're probably building it at a point where that's what you've got. And then it's upgradable. And it also means you've only got 2 chests of stuff, I think. Yeah, so let's do one like that. With, as I say, the sort of caveat that... do we want it... So if that was the normal thing there, it needs to be that one. Oops, I was in the way. That one there. Excuse me. What have I done? It's on the bottom one there, isn't it? So those are equivalent. And I say your train's going to be turning up every so often. It's either going to back up because there's too much and da-da-da. And I guess you could put one on the other side if you really wanted. But the idea of this one is eventually you'll upgrade to, stack inserters, basically. Oops. Not that they'll cope with blue belts, but, And you could always, you could always then add something in, couldn't you? You could add a, extra sort of belt there, feeding on that side, maybe. Or why don't I just why don't we just have this design? But if you wanted to put another thing on, you could do that. Yeah, so we'll have it on... Well, I'll have it on the top, because I think that's a little more presentable. And I say, the idea is, if you're using it, you're using it really the intention of upgrading. Does this really gain us anything over... So if we got, say, this, let's compare these two. If I feed that into the bottom one there, and then that one there, Let's take everything out of there so it's even draw. I mean, they're just coming out, you know, in a row versus spread out, aren't they? It's not really achieving a great deal there. I mean, if we had some stuff in the chests, would that help at all? So if these were, say, half full, does that make any difference? Oh yeah, okay, so that is slightly better in that, so is it? It is slightly better, isn't it? That's interesting. I guess because this is doing that thing where it just dumps it all instantaneously. So it's dumping 3 instantaneously. Whereas this is having to wait for the belt to get it. So I'm guessing with red belt, effectively they would then become the same. So it needs to be red belt now. Yeah, so we've looped back to what we had before, pretty much. Where this is just together and this is spread out. Okay, that makes sense to me. Right, so we'll go with... I think, well, we'll just give options, basically, I think. So, I'll say that's what's kind of all about. So I'm just going to hit undo until we... No, that's okay there. Right, so we want both of these, basically. So if I sort of cut this one off, sort of flip it over there. So say we want both of these. Is that right? So if I then sort of copy all that rubbish, if I copy that, put that there, then we can have that blueprinted there. So this is our next type of unloader. And then, oops, and then same deal here. All this. So it's a little bit new to me in a sense, some of these, because I've seen them, you know, like on the wiki and stuff, but I never really used them. But I say, the issue of having tons and tons of like material sat in chests is a very real thing I've encountered. And so you can always double these up, you know, no problem. If you wanted 4 chests worth, but this is the simple, compact version, and this is the sort of technically more efficient version. But really, I guess these are really only useful with higher level inserters and high level belts. It's fairly redundant, but gives you an option for doing 2 chests. So we do want a sort of a 4 chest version, I think. So you've got a 2 chest, 4 chest, and 6 chest version. So if we move these up, I say we'll have both of these. We might as well, you know, it's not no great shakes having lots of blueprints. I'm going to put some power poles on because the flashing drives me insane. In fact, let's just plot that. Yeah. And then bin. Do we want a sort of 4 chest loader and stuff as well? I didn't. I just blueprinted the one with the inserter on, didn't I? But that's the flip version. Yeah, okay. Yeah, go on then. So if we just copy up sort of this, and then we just take out a couple of them. And then we use the wonderful balancer, which is as boring as you'd expect. Like that. And then I guess we want the 2 chest version, which is... Oops. Even more boring. Actually, actually, do I want to put these... If I put these at the top, so it gives you the option to load other things in there or add to it or whatever. Well, I mean, you have that option no matter what, but this is sort of the simplest version. And then this is just literally an inserter. Literally a splitter. Balancer. Right, so we want this version for loading. Oh, it's got blue things on it. We don't want that. We want yellow. But then I can do it by hand. Even I can work out a 2 to 4 balancer. That one there, that one there. So that's that one. Replace that. I don't know why I do the alternate lights. It's just a thing. Just a habit, really, I suppose. I do think it looks quite cool. Feels more realistic as well, weirdly, to me, which is a bizarre thing. I'm not going to do one. I'm sure you can work out one if you're doing this. Right, so that's all the loaders. So that's 2, 4, 6 loaders. I mean, we could do 3 and 5, but these are the unloaders. So this is the 6 unloader, and I don't think I'm going to do anything weird with different variants of that. It's just 6. What I could do is like a limited version, because that's the other way around it, is to limit the chests basically. So you would have 1 stack or 2 stacks. 2 stacks is probably a sensible way to go, but then you've got 6 chests. Because the thing is, I mean, a wagon holds just ever so slightly more than a chest because it's got the 2 there. So a chest has, ever so slightly less than a chest. More. Because a wagon has got the 4 complete rows and the chest has got the extra 8. So even if you're unloading into 1 chest, you've got more stuff. You've always got a gap in the chest for another train, so you can always have more than a carriage's worth, even in a single chest. I think I said that right eventually. So yeah, so you've always got a buffer, and I think that's how they've designed it, so that, because obviously a train is going to take time to pull in and pull out, no matter what system you've got, whether it's pulling through or turning around or whatever. So you're always going to have, some way of doing that. So even if you're using loaders, these guys, some version of these, you're always going to be able to put an entire wagon's worth into a single chest. Right, so what do we want with it? So we've got the two variants of 2 chest unloading. We've got the 6 chest. As I say, should we do a limited one? Because that's the other way round it. Because then what you've got, that's... So 4 chests holds the equivalent of a carriage then. And so we've got slightly more again. So this is, you see what I mean? It's the equivalent of 1 chest having more. You've always got more. You're never going to be in a situation with having limited to 1 row with 6 chests where a train unloads and then it's used up so quickly that, the next train pulling in is, you've got a gap basically in your system. That's basically not going to happen so long as you've got, I know what I'm saying. I've explained that terribly. But I think I will have a limited one. Because I think this is what I would prefer to do from now on, is have limited chests. I don't know how I show that on the blueprint, though. We could maybe put some kind of symbol or something. I don't know what I'll put. Maybe just 1 for 1 row? I can obviously caption it, give it a name. But so I think that's probably how I will resolve my too much stuff issue. And you can always come along and increase the limit and stuff once you've got your final form. Yeah, so we need a 4-chest unloader, which I would tend to suggest is probably, if we just sort of move that bit up, it's probably nothing more complicated than simply. So that needs to be that way around. Hang on. Is that right? Because you put on the right, don't you? Yeah. So it's that, basically. Like that. And as I say, you could do something weird and wacky here if you wanted. And we could always have like filter inserters and stuff if you wanted to take different things out of the carriages and all sorts of stuff like that. So you had 1 row of iron and 3 rows of, I don't know, copper or something. And you wanted to use filter inserters to put them in different chests and do all that sort of stuff. Yeah, okay, so we'll blueprint that one. And this is your 4 unloader. So the bit that's missing, that I haven't done at all, is the whole train power side of things. So these are the unloaders. You've got 2 variants of the 2 box, a 4 box, a 6 box, and a limited 6 box. Loading wise, you've got 2, 4, and 6, and they're therefore mirrored. So why am I short? No, I'm not. I'm okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so that's the actual box side of things. The bit that's missing is the power for the trains. So I'm just wondering whether I should include the train, but then it wouldn't be repeatable, would it? I'm just wondering about the train naming. Train station naming. At the moment it's just going to be a random name. I mean, what we could do is we could call this unload. No, we could call this load. And have the generic blueprint be the load. Train stop names, yeah. And then, because we need to put the fuel in, basically. So if you had, this is like the worst version in terms of space. So in fact, actually, let's get rid of all of this. And imagine we've got a train set up. So that's them there. I think I'm going to take these and put them over here. And you're using this unloader because that's the most space. You've got it on here and here. Like that. It's chunking away. Yeah. So then we want a balancer here. Hello, Ultimate Place. How you doing? You alright? We've got balancer, say, there. Oh, it's a blue one, isn't it? We need... Where's my one? So I guess space-wise, this would be the sort of worst scenario. Because you're doing this. Well, that's a point. It doesn't... It's not rotationally the same, is it? That's at the bottom. No, it doesn't matter. That one there. No, wrong thing. What am I after? I'm after my balancer. There we go. Right, so... Might be doing, I say, something like this. Would it all fit in is what I'm wondering. Did I do that there? Yeah, I did. Sorry, my neighbours have... doing some sort of DIY. There's a lot of crashing around outside. Right, so if we get rid of that, and then we've got that there. No, I want my one, not that one. So we want that one. That one, there we go. So you'd end up with something like that. That. Oops. That way. Up there. That. Let's copy that up. Obviously it's in the wrong place. Obviously. Like that. Okay, so that's the... like worst case scenario. You'd obviously probably do it a lot squished in, but that's sort of the worst scenario in terms of distance. My sister came to Liverpool, so I'm going to Liverpool soonish. Oh, right. You mean at university, maybe, or why were they? Why have they gone to Liverpool? Obviously, this is the 2-box one, so it's not going to fill the belts. But notionally, so that's maximum space. So, if we were then putting fuel in these trains, what would be a nice way of doing that? Because the other scenario is like this is all filled in with stuff, so we need to kind of avoid that. But I'm not 100% sure how we do that without... Because the other, like, worst case version is we're using this one with, like, the distance. So, if it was something like that, what we would need to avoid is, because basically what I'm going to do, we're going to have like a special thing here, which is a belt of coal that comes in, and then you put, you know, splitter here, for example, and then it sticks it in a box like that, right? But we got to fuel both trains. And this is where I'm going to include the station. So the idea is you would only be doing fueling on the unloading station, because that's your home base. And that's probably where you've got coal. But if we're doing that, we need the space. Because, we've got to avoid all of this, but we haven't got room. We can't do an underground there. So we would have to, avoid whatever rubbish you've put down here, or I've put down here. So would that work? Because if that was... We obviously only need it on one side. we don't need to put fuel in on both sides, and we'll put it on the inside because it's then a bit more compact, as it were. So you could always put your unloaders on one side and your fueling on the other. Excuse me. So yeah, so in that case, why did I stamp that down there? What I should have done. Oops. Just taken that out. University. Oh, cool. They I was going to ask there. There's actually, I mean, there's a couple of universities in Liverpool, and my mind instantly went to, there's like a, what would you call it? Like a, I don't know what the proper term would be, like performing arts. So like, I say I don't know what term to use. That's what it's probably called, but you know, drama school type of thing. Is that sort of is it that university or? I can't think what the proper term is for that. Oh, I'm having another bad brain day, I think. You don't know which one? Okay, no problems. So I think it's called Liverpool John Moores or something like that. It's a bit, and I think John Moore is like some famous actor or something like that. I say, and I don't know. I always tend to think. I think it's because of the. I mean, you probably don't even know who the Beatles are, but I always think of university as being like. Sorry, Liverpool as being like you know, how to put it, like city of art and culture and that sort of thing. But and so I say, my brain always goes to that place when someone says that. Oh, you do? I mean, you must. People know who the Beatles are. It's just. I mean, a bit before your time, but a bit before my time. But I say for some reason that when people say university at Liverpool, that's always what I think. I think they're going to learn music or drama or something like that. I don't know why. It's just a strange association in my brain. Right. So what we want this to actually be, that needs to be there, because it's a bit of a weird, and that needs to be. There? I say it's a bit of a weird thing I'm doing in a sense that you may well not have any, things there. Oh well. Let's make the assumption you are going to have them. And we'll take this. If we put actually one further down. So the idea being you can connect up your coal there, and every one that you've got, you put them in a line and they all go together, basically. Yeah, okay. So we want exactly the same bit here. I usually, for some reason, I also always put them like one. I always leave a gap of one there, and I don't know why I do that either. Okay. Oh, this chest needs limiting to trains worth. Cool. Right, so the bit we want is very much not. Should I include... If I include the radar... No, you've got the station to help you position it, so I won't include the radar. Yeah, so if we take this, and then I fiddle about with it, so we want to get rid of... Where's it gone? Create that there. So this is like the loading unloading version of the station. So I'm going to need to change the name. So if the generic one is the load, and then this becomes unload. Obviously you need to edit it for whatever you're doing. We'll do an oil one as well. We'll do oil unloaders. But that's unload, and then what we don't want in it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, that's it there. What we don't want any of the rail. And I mean, we don't need the inserters and all that stuff that I put on because that's the other blueprint. So what does it look like now? So I think we get rid of the power poles because that's a bit dependent on what the person is doing in terms of... Or do I leave one side? Because... Oh, I've just got rid of all the boxes, haven't I? That was idiotic. So let's do that again. We can get rid of these. No, I think actually I'm going to leave the power poles on one side. And the lights, so that... But then I would need to put those in the generic one as well, wouldn't I? Do I want to do that? We'll get rid of them all on this side, though. You need to have the yellow submarine in it. Oh, that's a great kit, that one. Do you know who Troopin is? Because he's really good at Factorio. I know vaguely of Troopin. He does videos on YouTube, doesn't he? Mostly, from what I've seen, sort of more comedy videos, I think. Sort of more... what do you call them? Like memes and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not hugely familiar with him. In terms of sort of Factorio, who I watch, I tend to watch a guy called Exterminator, because he does like a mod spotlight, and he used to do, when they did the Friday Facts, he would do a roundup of the Friday Facts. I used to enjoy watching that because obviously I read the Friday Facts myself and then sort of watch his video. At the weekend, I was having, when I have me dinner, as it were, my breakfast rather. Who else do I watch? Nil House, obviously, and when I used to watch Catherine Sky, but I tend not to. She tends not to do too much Factorio now. So this should be load then. I mean, I could leave. No, you're not. When you set it up initially, you're not going to be fueling your trains on the loading side. But obviously, in which case, why have the power poles on it? Yeah, that's fine. You're going to need to put loading on, no matter what. Nathan Sandbox. I've not heard of that one, I'm afraid. Is that sort of because I mean, if it's Sandbox, they play sort of other Sandbox games as well, or is it all mostly just Because I think Troopin is basically all Factorio. I say I'm not massively familiar with him, but what's that? I need to replace that blueprint. But I know Nilhouse obviously does Dyson Sphere program and Satisfactory as well. Wait, what have I done there? I think I've confused myself there. Why have I got... What's that blueprint? That's the junk one that I just temporarily copied. Okay, so we've got the 2 unloader, the 4 unloader. No, it's the 4 loader. The 4 unloader. The 6 unloader. The 6 loader. The 6 unloader with cap chests. The loading station. And obviously we've already got the unloading station. And we've already got the generic loading station. So the idea of how you would use this, let's run it through. So you've got... So that's the loading. And then say that's the full chest, cap chest. So that's 2. Which is that? That's unloading. That's unloading. So where's the... That's loading. Loading. Unloading. That's loading. Okay. So your generic station is loading. Okay. So that one, we need the other ones here. So we need... Wait. Why have I got... So that's unloading. That's 4 unloading. That's 6 unloading. No, that's 6 loading, sorry. That's 4 loading. Where's the 2 loading? That's 2 loading. So that's your 2 box unloading. Sorry, 2 box loading, 4 box loading, 6 box loading. That's your unloading version of the station. So the home base version. And then you've got seem to be missing a blueprint that I was expecting to have. In fact, missing several, aren't I? Because that's loading, that's loading. What's happened to my unloading ones? Because I should have... Did I just not blueprint these? Huh. So that's one of the 2s. Like that. And then that's the other 2. Sorry, I'm having to pay attention here because I've managed to confuse the heck out of myself. Right, so back into here, here. So we should have... So I mustn't have blueprinted them. Oh well. Like that. And then that's the sort of weirder one. That's the normal. Okay, there we go. It is a lot of gaming right now, most Factorio. Are you making blueprint book? And if it is, going on factorioprints.com. Possibly going on factorioprints.com. I hadn't considered that. Yes, basically. I'm not sure if you've been watching and just not commenting, or you've not seen the or YouTubes or anything, because I know it's a while since you've commented. But basically, I did the Mega Base series that you'll remember. And I got to the end of that, and I was a bit... it took a heck of a long time, basically, that series. And by the end of it, I was just sick of making that base. And what I kind of decided... Well, one of the things I realised is I'd spent so long just building a normal base that, you know, it was a long time before I even started the Mega Base. And, of course, I've always said, you know, I like doing the designing so much that I tend not to have a standardised blueprint library. And so if I'm going to have another go at a Mega Base, I need a sort of a standard blueprint library, really, to get me through that process quickly. And it's useful to have it anyway, because even though I say I do enjoy the designing, I basically repeat the same designs over and over. So I'm just repeating the same process. So... The idea of this sort of stretch of videos, streams, is to design myself a standard set of blueprints. I'm actually doing it, they're like original in the sense of, so for example, one of them, say stop me if you have seen some of these, but for example, I've been putting it all into blueprints, but this, for example, is a base designed to do... this one, the Kickstarter base, is designed to get you up to blue science. That's not normally what I do. It's a bit more haphazard and thrown together. So the idea is that this, you know, makes things a lot quicker and easier and simpler. For me, you know, I mean, obviously, if other people want to use it, I can put them up. But what I was tending to do is I still keep rabbiting on about my YouTube channel, but essentially, the seed for this map is basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So it's a really simple seed. And the idea is to do a set of streams to like do the designs, and we're nearly finished with those. This will be the last one of those, and then test it out. Not the last one, but test it out. So we've got up to the point where I've made a base that will get you up to bots. But my logic behind it is that you'll probably be doing rail at that point. So if you look at this map, for example, you've got your starting resources here. By the time you're probably making bots and you've done those techs and all that sort of stuff, you're probably going to want to bring in more resources, and at the very least you're going to want to bring in oil to do blue science. And it's best if you do that usually. You can obviously run pipes and giant belts, but it's usually best if you crack on with rail. And the blueprints I've already done do include rail building. So now I'm doing the rail. I've forgotten to do oil. I need to do an oil build. And I think I'll probably put together a solar panel one if we get time today. If not, that's not part of it. And then when I do this stream next, I will basically, because I'm in creative mode at the moment, the mod, and we'll turn that off and I'll try and use the blueprints, see if they work or not. And we'll stream it through. It shouldn't take long. The idea is they're fairly quick and easy to do. But that'll be a couple of streams. But I'm also, because the other problem with the Megabase series, I've not been on Twitch in 5 months. All right, crikey. You do want to use my product? Yeah, I mean, well, what I was also thinking, you see, is because I do put these VODs up on YouTube, but not everyone's interested in sitting, through a 3-hour stream, and YouTube tends to be, there's a lot of grind and stuff in the YouTube in the streams that it's not necessarily interesting for YouTube videos. So if I ever do revive my channel, I would do like smaller videos just on the bits, as it were, of the design. And do effectively like a let's play version of it, and I'd probably team that with making the blueprints available. I'll be honest, it's a very similar idea to Neil House's blueprint base in a book series is the idea, but more bespoke, than the series he did. But yeah, so that's my plan, and then I'd probably revive my website as well. So maybe put them on factorioprints.com as well, but actually start using my domain that I've got that I pay for, that I never do anything with, and put them up on there, because they're going to be quite big is the thing. I don't know that Factorio prints really, I could break them up, but if the entire base is in a book at the end of it, that's a gigantic blueprint. Yeah, so that's the point of this series. But what I'm also doing next week, I've got another series running. Because one of the things I found with the Megabase series is that, as I say, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and it was entirely me doing it. It wasn't anything to do with anyone watching or anything like that. But there's a lot in that series and doing Megabases that is just grind of doing the same stuff over and over again. Particularly because I did the default settings, so the patches were all tiny. So I needed lots and lots of outposts, like a ridiculous number. I mean, outposts was just a bad idea in the end, but I had to collect up loads of resources. And so I ended up forcing myself to do it in my own time as well. So at one stage I was doing like 20 hours a week, basically grinding out outposts, or defensive walls or solar or something like that. And it sucked all the fun out. So I've started, but I didn't have any choice. That's all that was all I was streaming, that one series. So I've also started another series called Aesthetic Factorio, which is an attempt to build pretty looking bases in quotes, a bit like in Satisfactory, where you have, because you can make really, really great looking factories in Satisfactory, that actually look like factories. Obviously you can't do that really in this, but using like the Dectorio mod and railway bridges and boats and things like that to make it look more interesting than just the default basic, boring Factorio, as it were. Not that it's boring, but you get what I mean. I'm actually going to switch back to that. Oh, you've seen the aesthetic series, yeah. Unfortunately, it went a bit pear-shaped because I hadn't realised the terrain I was using, where I was, didn't absorb any pollution, and so I spent multiple episodes clearing up biters, and and putting in defensive walls and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to pick that up again next week probably. I might do Saturday as the trial run, and then Sundays back to aesthetic Factorio. And I think the scale of that is probably a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. There's a lot of work involved in that, but I'm at a stage where I think I can like pretty much dash through the science now, because I've walled off a big base with loads of resources in it. So I think I can plough through the science, and then we can get properly started on the separate proper builds. I do need to work out like how big I'm going to go. I'm thinking actually, although not to go too big, sort of 1,000 science a minute. So it is technically a mega base, but only just. So the idea of you using this, you plop down this generic station. It is your load station. So you could then, what would you then do? So you then have the option, you can load in either with two chests, so it's a small thing. You can load in with 4, and obviously that's particularly useful. We'll do a thing to make a nuclear loading one, but that's your 2 middle ones. And that's a 4 chest version. Oops, like that, and obviously you can put them on both sides. Looks a bit weird because of the rotation, but that's fine. Or you can put 6 chests worth. So that all fits together. Again, should fit on the other side, no problem. Yep. Or you turn it into a load station. That's right, an unload station. And that does that, and this should change the name. Yeah, so it changes the name. You then go here, and you've got options. You can do 2 chest unloading. You can do... that doesn't fit, does it? Oh, it does. I just aligned it properly. Improperly. Or you can go that version of 2 chest unloading. Better for high-level inserters. Or you can go 4 chest unloading. Or you can go 6 chest unloading. Or, and this is what I will probably do, rather than sort of change the way I do it, I use 6 chests, but cap them. Cool, I like that. So actually about 8 months since you've been in chest. Is that, I mean... I don't want to. If you don't want to talk about it or whatever, I assume that's because you've been busy with schoolwork or something like that. But I say if you don't want to talk about it, don't worry. But I say I kind of assumed you were busy with your exams, or I don't know what you do over in Denmark. But say as if you don't, right, not willing to talk about it, then don't worry. I think that's all the rails. Oh no, it isn't. I need to do. So we need oil, don't we? So oil. Okay, so we put a new thing all together. I guess what. Why did I said oil and then put down blooming cargo wagons? What an idiot. So we put down that. Well, a lot of the banned profiles are spam bots, basically. So there's a bit of a rash. Not these ones that come and harass people, but It was a bit of a rash of bots that turned up, and basically they like offer to sell you followers, basically. So it comes in, they do a chat, and it's basically, you know, you buy 1,000 followers, and it's like, you know, I've no interest in any of that sort of thing, so I just banned them basically. And I say they're just bot bans. I don't think I've banned anyone human. Hopefully not. It's all just been bots. I've not had any. I've not been harassed or anything like that. But yeah, they just turn up and they go, you know, buy 1,000 followers, and it's like, and then I have to ban them. Well, I don't have to, but I ban them and get rid of them basically. So hang on, friends. No problem talking about it. Cool. How do I want to do this? Because I don't want to go nuts with like loading oil in. Because sometimes I put it on both sides and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I could go smart. You know, we could do like smart unloading of oil, but can I be bothered? Fluids is just a mare. I think I decided in the Mega Base series that I was basically just sort of done with oh, it's no power, is it? Like oil, basically. I'm just gonna, well, unless I can avoid it, I'm just like always gonna go coal liquefaction, I think. Why are you not? Oh, I've got the wrong. I need the cheaty one, don't I? Where's the cheaty one? Is there a cheaty fluid wagon? I thought there was. Because that's the regular wagon. Oh, maybe there isn't. Because that's the cheaty regular wagons. Those are the cheaty fluid ones. No, looks like there isn't a cheaty thing. Okay, so if we instead we set up sort of a loads it in and loads it out thing. Because I don't think I'm going to go mad with. In fact, no. So we're not going to go mad with double-sided unloading. But if there's no cheaty fluid wagon, which I thought there was, maybe I'm just being dumb, then we're going to have to do this, aren't we? We're going to have to put oil or something in here. Have we got void? No, I haven't got void there either. Okay, I'm going to have some kind of fluid void here then. And we can, because these will just fill up. So if we just, oops, if we just connect that to get rid of it for the time being. I say, because I have done before, you can put them in the middle there, and you can have, you know, if you turn one of them round and move it up, and then you can have a gap, and I don't think I can be bothered with any of that sort of stuff. So we'll just go with sort of a boring standard, unloads directly into a couple of tanks, I think. So happy with that. In fact, let's do the whole thing. Oops. Got on the pump. Oops. Yeah, it is annoying. The bots. It's like, I don't know why people bother. I mean, I'm sure people buy those sorts of services, but it's like, I don't really see how to put it. In a sense, what the Twitch must know. I mean, them, you know, they're not. They, yeah. I mean, maybe they do get away with it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like, it just seems like the most obvious crime you could imagine, if you see what I mean. How do I want to do this? I think I'm just going to go like really standard, really basic with this. So you've got basically unloading. In fact, let's use some undergrounds like that. And I'm not even going to connect these together. They're just separate things. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to have a pipe up there. So I better put a void on it so that it gets rid of it all. They're not connected, so we need an egg. Oh. Power poles don't reach. We could put that there. I need to move that down though. And then, so that needs to be there. And then a power pole should cover both of them. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, happy with that. So, what we need to do, though, I think if I can just get rid of that. Because I'm thinking, if you're plopping down oil, you kind of want... Don't want the rail. But you want to rename the station. So, I need to redo that, don't I? Oh. So, that call that. So this is... oil, oops, unload, and then redo this. So we do that and that, and then we want another version of this, which is load. Wait, did I don't think I... Did I redo the blueprint? Oh, do it again. Let's just do it again. Just in case. I don't think I did. Right, so we want to redo this blueprint. Put that on there. Down at there. Get rid of that. Don't want the trains. Happy. Everything else works because it's just a generic station. Okay. Now we can do the load version. So this is all load. And do we just turn everything around? It's not usually brilliant if you do this. Because the flow's just not there to support it. And your trains do... yeah, I think we're going to have to do something a bit different with the pipes. Where's the spawner? There's the spawner. So if you put a little oil in there. Probably it's easy to see, yeah. I would think so, I say. I mean, because the person's suddenly going to go... It's always going to be round... Well, maybe they give them a weird number, but if the your subscriber count or follower count or whatever goes from, up in around 1,000, you've clearly bought 1,000 followers. I mean, you're not going to get exactly 1,000 followers or subscribers or anything for, for a stream. And so in the because I know they look at the stats. This is the thing, you see. I know several people have applied for whatever they call it, affiliate, is it? I think affiliate you call it, and then partner, and they make an application, and Twitch then looks at the statistics. So it's like, well, clearly, if they do that, they must look at the numbers and say, oh, there was a jump of 1,000. Oh, there's a jump of 1,000. That person bought 1,000 followers, and you can just look at the names because they're bots. They're bound to have completely random names, not real people. So it's like, I mean, I can understand the frustration of if you're wanting to become big or whatever and you're just not making it, but it's the least convincing cheat I think you could possibly imagine. Yeah, we can't do... The trouble with this is always that it's gonna it loads up in like a front ones and then back. You know, so the front one's full and then the back one. So if you have a condition, wait until full. It can take ages to fill a train, particularly if you're getting high throughput. So what we really want to do probably is something more along the lines of separate lines in, and then you can sort out how it works at the other end. We'll keep the pumps in the same place, I think. So you really want something like this. My website is just my name. There is nothing there at the moment. There used to be. My username, so it's trisregisters.com. I think I've got a com. I say there is nothing there at the moment. It will give you a failed domain, basically. You know, like 404 type error. But that's because I've not done anything with it. You know, I've got the site name, and I used to have a website, but it was back in the day, some way before your time, I imagine. Websites were mostly, you could do websites yourself, and now they tend to be a lot too. If you do your own website, it always ends up a bit rubbish. So there are a lot. Obviously, what I would use is one of those sites where you can, you know, basically have plug-in bits and pieces, you know, that you can have. And it wouldn't be anything spectacular, but just to make it look a bit, you know, a bit nicer sort of thing. But what I want to do is commission some kind of artist, basically, on Fiverr, to do a bit of artwork to go on the website and stuff like that. But it'd probably just be an archive of blueprints, effectively, for the time being, and just links to the thing, just so that if you wanted to, like you said, if someone drops in and wants to use the blueprints, they just can, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, there is Factorio print, probably put some of them up on there. But say this book is already gigantic, and I just want to stick the book on there, basically. You know, because I can put the text on there, and then someone can just copy the text in, basically. So this is the load version. The idea being that you sort out, you know, your arrangement of pipes and whatever here to suit your patch and how many you've got and blah blah blah. So you can stick, you know, you could put a pipe together, join them up, sort of thing. But the assumption is you'll sort that out however you want, sort of thing, however you're happy with. But the question then is, how does it work in terms of the fueling? Where's the... So that's the fuel one. See, it's completely in the way. Okay, so if we integrate that into it, how would we do that? We'd probably have to use this space here, I think. So, what does that look like? How would I do that? I mean, we could just move it up. Like, move up meaning left one. But then it hits the power pole. So have you played much sort of Factorio or anything, Ultimate Plays, or what else have you been, or maybe just been, as you say, been having fun with your friends rather than playing online? I'm not sure. I think, have you guys out of lockdown and stuff? The UK's sort of just completely abandoned any notion that we might control COVID. Because I don't want to have one, because I've obviously got, because this is the load-in. What I'm umming and erring about is it's on the inside. And the easiest solution to this particular problem is to have the coal being loaded here. But I'd rather keep it more uniform. So have the coal on the, sorry, the loading of the fuel on the inside here as well. But then I've got to weave around these things. I mean, that's no problem. I need the other one anyway. This is the unloading, isn't it? This is the loading, rather, which isn't going to have coal on it anyway, so we get rid of that. We want the train stop name. We don't want the tracks, but we want everything else. And it's trains and oil, again like that. But yeah, as I say, I need the t'other one. So we pop down the generic one there. Nope. Can find it. All of them like that. Pop that there. And then that must be unloading because it's got the one output. And then the issue is where's it gone? Saw it there. There we go. So the issue is that that doesn't match. How do we get it to match? What we do, we could just take it straight down there. Why wouldn't I do that? Yeah, well, I think that's a fine solution. So we need to redo this blueprint, basically, the unload one, and include. Get rid of the track. Taking the track out basically because it, you know, can be a bit funny if you're trying to flip things or rotate them or whatever. So got a random bit of belt there, and from where I plopped it on. But they're in the same position, it's just whoop, taking the belt round. And we don't have to underground because we got underground pipes. I will need to rename the station though, because it will have called it unload. So we need this to be oil unload. Oil unload. Right, so the question then is, do we want to do nuclear as well? What's the time? 4:30. Okay. We do need to do oil proper. I guess that's in the way, isn't it, technically? Yeah, you can just sort that one out. Playing Factorio with a friend. Cool. Yes, we have no restrictions. Okay. I think it was kind of inevitable. I mean, not to get all political on it, but a lot of countries basically mismanaged the whole thing. And it's like, it's that sort of problem of, how to put it, if one person's made a, you know, made a mess of it, then anything else anyone else does is irrelevant, because, you know, if there's always going to be, you know, COVID in, and kind of not wanted to pick on them as a country, but in Brazil or, you know, some of these countries where they had slightly bonkers leaders, or America, you know, America's connected to everywhere, so if they're not going to eradicate it properly or prevent it spreading, you know, it's like New Zealand and Australia, they, you know, heavily restricted it, and they've only had like 50 deaths from COVID and all that, which is brilliant. But what do they do now? Because countries like ours, America and, say, Brazil and stuff, there's just COVID, you know, thousands of cases. It's become endemic. It's, you know, we're not going to ever get rid of COVID in this country. So what do? They can't. Well, I mean, I guess they could operate their borders like, you know, like they are now. But then they're shooting themselves in the foot economically. People are just going to, you know, not be able to do business, basically. So it's sort of, you know, we would have needed the world to, you know, do it properly, shall we say, the entire world, and that was never going to happen because people, basically. Right, so the other question then, as I say, is the whole nuclear side of things. So what we could do to make that slightly simpler, is I could plop down the two. Apologies if that sounded a bit cynical, but it's just I kind of. I'm sure. Well, you may not pay any attention to the news if you don't. That's probably a good thing, but our government's a bit of an. Well, certainly our Prime Minister's a bit of an embarrassment at the moment. No matter what your political allegiance. So that's the load, and that's the unload of oil. Except it isn't, because... Go get them out. So what we need then is my sulfuric acid. So basically how I always do nuclear is I have a fluid wagon for sulfuric acid, 2 normal wagons, and in fact I need to blueprint this as well, don't I? Just train. So if we add this to the train blueprints, I mean I could filter this one, but yeah, don't bother. So this is a train for, where's nuclear? There we go. Okay, so we got that one. That was the one I had to add. So we do want, you know, fluid, but we don't need gigantic amounts. And what we can do instead, so that would be the top one, that's the middle one. So what we can do instead, get rid of all of this. Oh, no, this is the unload, isn't it? So that should be that way around. Obviously we don't want them there. Get rid of that and that and that. So this is the... Oh, no. It's the other way around, isn't it? Because the nuclear... Sulfuric acid you want to load in. And what we need then... Because we need unloading... So I think I'm just going to set this one. So where I've given lots of options for the other one, it's basically just a small unloading. There we go. That's the one. Small unloading. Huh. Why have I got lights on both sides? Oh, because I've just put it in the middle. Okay. Okay. 40,000 COVID cases, and yesterday I had COVID. Oh, right, crikey. Embarrassing that Boris... Yeah, it's a national disgrace, to be honest with you. It's like... I mean, I say, it's not my politics, you know, my politics is where it's not, you know, that's not my side of the political fence, but it's just like, if you set a law, and we're talking a law, we're not talking, you know, guidance or anything like that. It was a legal thing that we all had to stay indoors and not do anything. And they're having, you know, gatherings and parties and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, basically they get away with it because it's a technicality, because there's all sorts of weird... Basically, like, Westminster's almost like a different country. It's bizarre. But effectively, they, you know, technically he's therefore not done anything, you know... He's not broken the law because the law didn't apply to him. But it's like, you know, if the whole point is you're a leader, you know, and if your people are suffering, you suffer with them. That's like the deal, basically. But yeah, it's sort of unbelievable. But sorry to hear you had COVID. I assume you've got vaccines and stuff and you're okay. I don't know, or maybe you just had it mild. But it seems to be really variable how much it affects people. Apparently there is it's like a genetic thing, which is why some people are more susceptible than others. But it's like giving everybody, you know, that test would be astronomically expensive, so they can't really do it. Apparently that's what someone at work was telling me, but I don't know if that's true or not. Right, so we can put this in here. We need that to be aligned with that. That to be somewhere there. That to be like, oops, like that. Like that. And then we want that to be, say, like that. Be nicer if that was kind of more central. Can I do that? Or is that just too far? Oh, it can't be central, can it? Because it's three things, so it can't sit in the middle. We could put a pump in there because of backflow. Might put a light on it. Guess why not? So this is then sulfuric acid coming in, basically. In which case, I guess I should go with a thingy saying sulfuric acid. Where is it? It would be in fluids, and it would be there. Oh, you're okay, but you lost it yesterday. Okay. Glad to hear you're okay. But yeah, as I say, it's sort of I know. I say it really affects people, you know, different people very differently, and it's sort of very difficult to predict whether you would have it, you know, whether you'd have it bad or not. Yeah, so this is basically uranium unloading. Now, should I set a train limit on this? But nah, it wouldn't really make sense, I don't think. I think I might have to move these in the end. I know I said you'd sort it out, but they need to be fairly fire and forget. But yeah, so this is uranium unloading, but of course you have to load sulfuric acid in. And what I always do, as I say, it's like overkill. You don't need that much, but I always put the sulfuric acid in, you know, either end, because this train is going to turn around when it comes around here. So if this is the front and that's the back, when it comes to this station, if you follow it through, so this is the back, and it actually then becomes the front, goes through here, so it's then sat at the front, so it turns around. So if you only have one carriage, sulfuric acid, then it wouldn't really matter, because the next time it did a loop, it would be, you know, in the right place. So if you put that one as the sulfuric acid and those three were uranium, when it did this journey, you know, it would be the wrong place. But then when it came back again, everything would flip round and it would be in the right place. But then you've got the problem that you've got more complicated, that, you know, these two would unload all the time and this one wouldn't, unless you had some kind of system where you also had chests here and chests here. Too much faffing about. So I put sulfuric acid in the front and the back carriage, and then it's symmetrical basically, and therefore it doesn't matter whether it turns around or doesn't turn around, it will be okay at this end. But we need this to work basically. So what we need is essentially like the opposite. So if I just sort of grab it for the time being like that, and we get rid of this, paste it down again there, then this would be the output, this would be output, and this would be output. Excuse me. We don't need any of the refueling business. Oops. And we do need these to be our loaders instead, which we've already got. That's unloading, isn't it? So loading must be here. Yeah. So this is a loading. But we need to get rid of the lights. Cool. I need to rename this. So this needs to be uranium load. And I think we're happy. Yeah, I think that's okay. Right, and then we'll move on to oil. So, not going to be a massively complicated oil build, just fairly basic. But we need basic oil, and we need advanced oil. Which is a point, actually. Does my blueprint... Yes, it does, because it uses... Yeah, it's okay. But what I need is... So it's not a proper... We'll probably do the proper oil build, maybe. But it's an oil build to work with the blueprints I already did. I'll plop them down, actually. I don't know if you've seen this series, but I might as well. Because it's no problem with the train stop names. I bet I've not done that on some of them, have I? Why have I only got one? Did I not blueprint the other one? I don't think I did I? Right, let's do that then. We want train stop names. Don't want the tracks. Just to make it a little bit easier. Don't think I did that. So this needs to be that one. This needs to be that one. Train stop names. I wonder why it's put them in that order when it's got the same symbols on it. Oh. Yeah, cool. So that's everything. I had a fever first few days. Okay. No worries. Good to have you back though, by the way. I mean, good to see you again. But say I try to keep these like relaxed stuff. It's so you just drop in and as and when you like. So the VODs always go up. So if you were curious, or you wanted to steal any of my designs or anything, then the VODs are always there on YouTube. I should get back. I should put like timestamps on them again because that's like. I know it's difficult to find bits in gigantic great VODs, but again, it's just a time issue really. Right, so we need an oil build. Oh wait, is this? Oh, that's the build. So that's the one we need to edit, or we need to add to. I'm gonna put these in the book here. Oil there. So I'll sort them all out later. That, and then that's that train there. Oh, I've run out into a lake. Yeah, so this is the build that gets you up to bots, basically. And the idea is that you would be feeding in... Oh, I never did the green circuit build, did I? Nuts. Oh, I didn't do the stone either. I've been sloppy there. That's annoying. Not sure what to do on that. Yeah, we need the... But basically, the idea is you'll be feeding in proper smelting here. Not, massive scale, but a couple of rows of iron, couple of copper, coal, blah, 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 blah. So that would be, saying I haven't done the green circuit build. Which is annoying. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but... So I completely forgot I had to do that separately. I mean, we could technically fit in a small green circuit build here. Anyway, oil. The basic idea is, obviously you do your initial research, which gets you basic oil processing, like that, and gives you that recipe. So you would do that initially. So what we want is a build that you can put it down, and it'll do basic oil. I say you beat. This is where that's why I did the trains. You would use the trains to bring oil in, and then the initial build is just basic oil processing, and you feed that in to your blue science. But you need heavy oil for your lube, so it also then needs to be something you can. Actually, that's a point. Can you? If I turn these to advanced. If I just plot that over the top. Yeah, so it does replace the recipe. So we can have a separate entire thing. I don't need to take the oil out or anything like that. We can just have it as a separate thing that you can put over the top. That has advanced oil. Oh, did it not undo the recipe? Okay. Okay. And it's not about volume and stuff. It's just... getting that done. But that advanced build is then gonna have to have some kind of cracking in it. The processing into sulfuric acid, that's all handled here, so you don't need to bother with any of that stuff. But you're going to get light oil out, and you don't have anything to do with light oil. So we either or need to turn it into petroleum, or we'll probably do both. Need to turn it into solid fuel. So I think we'll go with what sort of scale do we want? We don't want or need it to be enormous. I'm not going to build it so that you can upgrade it to modules and beacons or anything like that. I'll do that later. And that'll be a completely separate build, because I think 12 beacon or 16 beacon is quite good for oil, despite the lessons of the mega base. So yeah, so we need a basic thing here. How many do we want, as I say? Maybe if we just go with sort of 4. Because it's about the amount of stuff that comes out, really. So it's 45 every 5 seconds. This doesn't need a lot, does it? Because we've got plastic here. So that's petroleum. That's 1 second crafting time, 20 gas. But I know that this backs up real quick. We don't really need to provide it with 20. Because every 5 seconds that would then be 100, wouldn't it? And each one of these, so it's 45, so it's less than 5 a second. 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's fine. Because it's also being used in sulfuric acid, but you're going to have switched to, cracked by then. So really we need to support this one with the advanced oil so that you can make your red circuits, so you can make your blue science, you can get your advanced oil, and then switch over. So yeah, I think we'll go with 4. Yeah, okay. So what we'd do... we'll do very basic. I'm not going to put in, the pipes, even though you would need them type of thing. I will do it, though, that if you wanted to put in... if you wanted to do 2 of these... you're an absolute madman and you wanted to do 2, it's got the connection for you to do that. We then want... I normally do That's the far one. Don't know why, just force a habit really. So we will put that in appropriately, like that. And then the output's there. So it has an input here. Oops. We want some lights on it. Oops. Oh, well, actually we do want that. So that's your absolute basic oil. Do we want that all the way down there? Probably not. Probably going to be like a stone brick path or something, isn't there? Like you to run along. Like that or something. So, like that. I'll put defences around these as well, because it's me, and I always do that. But it's sort of unnecessary, really. But so it's because it's one of a bespoke build rather than a final build, like the smelting. Is there anything more? I could connect. I could actually do that like that, couldn't I? Gives you more flexibility, I guess. Or we could put a pump in, maybe. Just to ensure fluid flow directions and stuff, because it's powered. I should really do that here, though, shouldn't I? Perhaps we put a pump here. Like. Let's put it there. Oops. So that's your basic oil. So we'll do the fences in a bit. Once this is, because I'll do the fences so that you can put it, and these will fit in as well. Yeah. Okay. So then you've got the bits that we're carrying over are the pipes. Ah, pump's in the way. Okay. Okay. Wait, did I put it in the wrong place? I put it in the wrong place, but the pump's still in the way. Right in the way of the water. Okay, so that was dumb. Right, so we want the pump there instead. Yeah, go on, we'll do that. And then power pole there, like there. So that's our basic oil build now, and you connect it up however you want. And so, say we're copying and pasting that bit. Like that. I say theoretical path there, but no. There, but we want this bit. Oops. Light still. Oops. And then leave that bit. Because we still want the petroleum out. But we also need to add water. I could put a indicator there, couldn't I? So that's your oil coming in. That's your oil, that is. That's your oil. In which case, you'd probably want your water like next to it, basically. But obviously you're going to have issues. Wouldn't let you put two pipes there. Do I want to account for that, or just assume that you know what you're doing? I mean, if that was the... Because water's higher up, you see, so we could offset them. I think I get rid of this pump, and then it's just sort of up to you how you connect them. I'll just put that offset so that if you're doing, you know, fluids coming in, it's not just automatically in your way. Or you're doing fluids coming in Okay. Been an interesting exercise this, because it's not usually how I say I'm more of a, how would I put it, organic designer, I guess, in the sense that I know the basic principles that I'm trying to do, but I'm not usually building something that, you know, is permanent, as it were, or continuously used, or the, oops, wait, have I moved this, I've moved this entire build slightly one up, haven't I? Compared to this somehow. Because that should be there. Yeah. I mean, actually, it's probably going to be fully stoned in, as it were, but that's fine. Because the walls will probably end up being there, I would guess. Anyway, get on with it. So, light oil, heavy oil. Okay. Now then, that's the generic set of connections. Heavy oil just continues through, because that you need in this system. Should I put, to tell you what they are? Yeah, let's do that. So if we want, so that's light, oops, that's petroleum, and that's heavy. And heavy, you don't, you know, there's a thing to account for heavy here. But are we going to also account for backflow? Because you don't use a lot of lube to make your bots. I mean, you do, but you don't. It's not massive amounts. So it could easily back up. Welcome back, Ultimate Plays. How you had a good dinner? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to account for backflow. So, I mean, this isn't a problem, so I'll get rid of this. So instead, the walls are going to be in here somewhere. The walls, the walls. Like that. So it's going to be some kind of defensive thing here and here instead. Okay. So the pumps are outside though, probably. Pumps are kind of optional anyway. You wouldn't really need them, but they're there anyway. But yeah, so if there's, I say, there's some kind of wall here and here, we've got the option of going this way, you know, up. And that's probably how we need to do the light oil. I mean, the thing with the light oil, we don't even need to store it, do we? We just need to get rid of it. So, you know, I don't need any kind of smart system because I'm not using light oil at all here, is it? No, it's just heavy and petroleum. But we do need a decision system. So I'm thinking we turn some of it... Because what I was thinking of including were these two. The trouble was, it's quite like weird and complicated recipes for not really that much gain. You know, I mean, concrete's great, but so what sort of thing? And flamer is like, well, we could just have something basically that you can stick here or something that make. I mean, you can literally, you know, pop a thing in here, get it to make flamethrower ammo. You know, box, hand feed in some steel because it uses nowadays. It uses a ridiculous amount of steel. For each container is 5 bits of steel, and if you think a stack is 100, that's 500 bits of steel. I don't like that change that they did, but it is what it is. So yeah, basically we need to process all of the light oil. either into solid fuel or into cracking. So I think we just have like 2 doing solid fuel. Maybe with a chest in the middle. Just sort of standard style. And then once the chest is full, it'll back up. And the rest all... Well, we don't even need to do a smart system. Because what I think, because this does include wires, but it's the last thing you put in. So if the idea is this builds the things you need, basically, if I put smart stuff in here, you're going to need it before you're making it, in a sense. Or you can obviously hand make it, but I don't want any smart stuff in here, basically. And I say it's a temporary thing that you would be replacing, so it's not like it's, a major problem. Excuse me, but this gets you. Excuse me. I mean, you could obviously burn it, but my thought is, you're probably going to put it in vehicles, really. Do you have a good Christmas? Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was very good up to a point. So I didn't get COVID. But my nephew gave me a really bad cold. He's quite young, and he doesn't know to cover his mouth with his hand, and stop the germs. So he just like full force, like open mouth cough. So it coughs all his germs out, and basically everyone at the family got his cold. Which for me personally was quite annoying, if I'm totally honest, because ever since lockdown has stopped, I've had cold after cold after cold, basically from coming into contact with new people and that sort of thing. So it was really annoying to get another one, but also it was really bad. It was like, I think it's because I I haven't seen him effectively. He's in a completely different part of the country, so I think the germs around there are very different to the germs around here. If you see, it's a bit of a rubbish way of putting it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. And so basically, it was like I basically was in bed. It was that bad of a cold that it just put me in bed, basically, and it wasn't very fun. What are you mean in terms of presents? Basically, I got a bit older than you, Ultimate Plays, and I got practical presents. So I got a new set of cooking pans, and I actually got an air fryer. I don't know if you've heard of air fryers. They're why am I putting this there instead of there? It's a thing where basically it blows. It's like an oven, like a really intense oven, and it fries food. It gives the effect of frying food without. It's not actually, like when you deep fry something. So you fry, chips or fries as they're called, or what else might you deep fry? You might a burger or something like you put it in a deep fryer and it gives that effect of cooking the food like that without actually deep frying. Partly for health reasons, but also deep fryers are. It's like really annoying cleaning up all the oil and getting rid of it and all that sort of stuff. But with these, you just put a little bit of oil on the food and then it effectively fries the food with really, really hot air. I got a Arctis 7 head toast. Oh, nice. Steel Series is good stuff. Before I had the whole carpal tunnel problems I have, I always used to use Steel Series mice. Really, really like their mice. But I have to use like a vertical mouse now, but I always use them. I could never afford the headphones. They're really good. I mean, these are cheap Logitech things, but yeah, I always really like the SteelSeries stuff. Right, how far? I mean, I want this fairly close. In fact, maybe I should do it. I mean, how much cracking would we actually need? So this, in fact, recipe changes, doesn't it? So we're going to get 45 light oil. So effectively, 200 light oil under. And then these ones are going to use... Oh, in what time? In 5 seconds, we're going to get 200 petroleum. Sorry, 200 light oil. So 5 seconds, we get 200. And then this process is through... Oops, this process is through 30 light oil in 2 seconds. So if we've got 200-ish in 5 seconds, then it's basically 2.5 times that. Is that right? 2.5 times that. So one will process 60, 75. So 75, 150. So 3 of them will totally cope with all the stuff we're producing. So it makes sense to have these in the line, wouldn't it? Basically. So like this in some way, and then that'll stop me having some random positioning here. So, because we're going to have a defensive wall maybe there. So yeah, they fit there. Okay. Now, power. Because what I could do is have them there, there, and then, oops, this is cracking. In which case, do I want to put that there? Get both of those. Like that. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That's the one. I can't do that, can I? Because it won't let me do that. Oh, well. I can put it close-ish. Like that. And then that needs to be water. Water, which we've got there anyway. Like that. So that's the water. And then we need it to feed in there. How best to do that? So if we connect them, I just think it doesn't really line up nicely. So we could connect it there, maybe. Like that. So we get spaghetti, but it's fine. To be clear, logic is really good. I think I had the tons here. Yeah, I mean, I'm not having a go at them. I think they are good for the money sort of thing, but you know, they're not. It's not, you know, once you're talking about a lot better sort of thing. I mean, the difference is, I mean, the ones I'll be honest, the ones I really rate generally are I don't know if you know Sennheiser. They're like really expensive, but they're, what's that phrase? Audiophile it's called, isn't it? Where you're like a really, music buff type of thing. You're like super into audio, and they're intended for those sorts of people. And also with people with a lot of money, because they're like £300 headsets, but they're really good. But say, I mean, It's just, you know, it's what you can afford, isn't it? I mean, I like these headphones. I'm not, you know, I'm not. I used to have. So these ones have like a fake leather material there, and it's like I had to get newer ones because they were sort of completely worn out. But the previous version of these headphones, it was like a cloth headset thing, and I prefer that material, you know, generally, because well, it's not worth explaining, but basically it sort of suits my skin basically to have like leather, not to have like cloth things rather than like the, you know, the fake leather sort of thing. But that's literally the only thing I would say about them. They are, you know, good set of headphones. I'm not saying they aren't, sort of thing. So it's just that thing of, you know, well, like, I mean, I know you had a ride in your uncle's Ferrari, didn't you? It's like comparing a Ferrari to a you know, a Ford, you know, Ford car or something like that. It's not. They're both cars. They both do the same job. It's just that one's a bit more exciting and fun than the other one. So that works, I think. I need to take that off. So we got light oil, which it'll partly turn into solid fuel until that's filled up, which you can do whatever you want with. We've got the rest potentially being cracked into petroleum. I guess we should put... The trouble is, to say... I mean, the light oil is fine because we don't want any of that, basically. We don't want any light oil coming into this system. The problem is the heavy oil. But I'm not sure how to do a... What we could do... The trouble is, it's all... It doesn't work in a way that you would want it to work in order to make that happen. Because what we really want is basically the heavy oil to go down there, but once it's full, the overspill goes to be cracked into light oil. Which we can then, in fact, because this needs to move down, basically. Because we want the heavy oil being processed first. So we want a heavy to light in here. But I say we only want that to happen if it gets full up. And I'm not sure how to, given the fluids work in weird ways of trying to even themselves out, I'm not sure how to achieve that without a logic system. I don't think there is a way of doing it. You have to have some kind of red or green wire. I mean, what stage would you be doing that at? Because the heavy is used for the bots, and the bots are after these. So I could include it. It's a bit cheeky. Yeah, I think we'll have to include a logic system, because otherwise you just end up with a situation where, you know, the heavy's either all being cracked and you desperately need bots, or you really want bots and you can't make them because the heavy's all being turned into light oil. Or the heavy completely backs up the pipes and then the entire thing grinds to a halt. You're not getting anything of anything. So we're going to have a logic system. Just because. Factorio, basically. We can do it in a relatively... Can we? I haven't even actually got any room to put it in there, have I? Because this is the heavy line here. If I connect that there, I've got no way of... You know, I'd have to loop back on myself. We can always move this, but... I can't just connect it to that thing anyway. So it's going across there at the moment. I mean, I say we can move this down. This isn't... It's not beyond the ken of man to do that. Yeah, I think that's what I'll have to do. And then we'll swap these round. So basically, I mean, does that work better anyway? Probably works better anyway because be on the right. So if you're taking it round, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're going to have to cross yourself over no matter what. But, oh, they're now aligned. Okay, maybe we do it there then. And this moves to here. Oh, I'm stood in the way. With that now in the middle. And this is the heavy, you know, going over the wall, under the wall, over the wall, under the wall. Why did I move it down? And then, did I move it down by, I did, didn't I? I moved it down by 2 by accident. That should be there. Yeah. But this needs to change here, so that needs to be there. Alright. Yeah. Ironically, we've now not got any power for that one, so we're going to need another power pole. Okay. Right, so what we need to do is we need a pump here that only activates... sorry, that only... Where's my wire? There's my wire. That only turns on if this tank goes above, say, 5,000. So that allows a bit of wiggle room. It's not sufficiently low that... Because, you know, fluids, you know, horror and pain. But, you know, if there was a bit of backup, bit of slowdown, whatever, some... you know, fluid accumulating in there, or it's trying to do weird evening things out because Factorio, it's not going to have a problem with that. There's a lot of flashing going on, so let's put some power poles in. Right, so this does need its own power thing. In fact, can I get the... I might be able to get that powered and include it in the actual cracking. So, in the assumption that you're not using any heavy oil and it's backing up, you're getting 25 heavy oil every 5 seconds. You've got 4 of them, so you're getting 100 every 5 seconds. A chemical plant or process 40 every 2 seconds. So in 5 seconds, it would process 120. So we only need 1. However, we've now increased the amount of light oil. We've got 30 extra light oil. So this was coming out at 45. So effectively 50, 100, 200, wasn't it? We could take 20 off of that. Oh, that's every 5 seconds. Right. So, not take it off, add it on. So, we would want 2.5 times that. So we're getting 60, we're getting 75 extra. But we know we've miscounted by 20. So that's 55. So we're getting 255 every 5 seconds. And these can handle 30 every 2 seconds. So in 5 seconds, I'm ignoring crafting speeds. I know it's not Unity, but we'll just hope. 255, and these handle 30, so 60, 30, 60, 75, 150, 225. Because you have a... Oh no, they do have one crafting speed of 1. I'm thinking with modules. So I think 3 can still handle it, especially since there's this here, and you're probably going to want to chuck some in a tank or a car or something. So I think that should still be okay. Yeah, it does beg the question, can I squeeze all of this in such a way that it's just a parallel row here? In other words, can that be there and everyone still be happy? What we'll probably have to do is flip that one round. So if that's water that needs connecting somehow, we'll do that later. But if that's the heavy, he ain't heavy, he's my water. I can't put that right next to it because that would align with the water. But we could have that connected to there. Might give us a bit of room if we need it. This is water and this is water. So, can I be cheeky and put that in there? And then we have, say, the water. It's a bit spaghetti, pipe spaghetti. What's the difference there? I mean, if I can't put that there, can I? But we could put it, say, there. If I was instead to do that, what sort of difference would that make? In other words, that's not there. Is that better, worse? I mean, it sticks out a bit more, so we'd have to be defending it slightly differently. Yeah, I can't put that there and power that unless I move it. That's annoying. Can I move it one over? No, because we... Oh, I don't like doing that. We could, in theory, move it sort of one tile this way. I don't like having pipes next to each other that, you know, straight pipes next to each other because it's just begging for trouble. Okay, water then. Does the water work okay there? We'll plug it in with the, you know, the cheaty stuff. See if we can get it to work. So that's misaligned. That's a little annoying. We could... Well, it should have a pump in it, really, to stop backflow and all that sort of nonsense. Could I do that if I put that light there? Got to have me light. And then that's a pump. So what's happening here? A very good question. Yeah, that's going to have to be like there, isn't it? Right, so say let's put... Oh. Why are you even there? That's annoying. Because that would be... that one, wouldn't it? Okay. Because this is the input for oil, light oil, isn't it? Okay. Bit strange, but... I mean, I could put it in there and... Oh, in fact, why don't I do that? Why is that connected there at all? Aha. So if that's there... Same difference. No pump. Could I literally just put a pump in here? Oops. Can't run past it. That's not great. Yeah, well, it is what it is. I mean, it's not great because if you're coming in from some door at the top here and you can't get through, but then you can reach the chest anyway. Yeah, I'll be okay with that. I could, of course, rearrange these pipes. We don't have to do them in this order. Right, yeah, let's put the cheaty stuff in and see what happens. So what we want to do, if we leave these here for the time being. I'll put these up here. And then we have a... I've got a couple already, so that's going to be oil. That's going to be water. And then we want, if I move these down, and then we can put, oops, that there, oops, there. And then we put voids on, like so. There's nothing coming out of there yet, that's a bit weird. Why are you not doing anything? It says it's working, but that pump is not pumping. Oh, I put them the wrong way around, that's why. Oops. So they're just eating the oil as it the products as they come out. So what we got here, we got, this obviously is assuming you're getting 100 oil in, you know, per second, max pipe rate, which is probably not going to happen. But if you did, these guys, oh, I haven't tested this one either. These guys convert your stuff, and they're all running, they're all happy. Your petroleum comes out directly and goes down there. Your heavy oil comes out, and initially we're not going to get any backflow at the moment. We're not getting any reprocessing because this is just eating it. We'll take this out in a second and let it backflow. But assuming your first bots are being made, your first lube, your first electric engines, etc., then it's all happy. This is not doing anything, but it's got water. However, light oil we have no use for, other than to make, we can make solid fuel out of it. These pipes are staying empty, which means, you know, it's not backing up. We are processing it. These two are running pretty much continuously, but because it's slightly mismatched, this is obviously going to just kick in, like, you know, the random thing where you sort of slightly over. And there you go. So there was a bit more extra oil. It did it there. Okay. It's all being converted to petroleum. We're not getting any pipe backup or anything because it's all flowing through. It works. So let's assume you've now made a bunch of engines. Heavy oil flow stops. Stops. We'll give it a minute to stop. It'll work out it's dead. It's like a brontosaurus, basically. It takes a while for the brain to work out the body is dead. Right, so that's full. So this should start filling up. Because you've actually got in this, it makes modules somewhere. Here we go. Obviously only level 1, but you could also put some of them in. You know, you could add them in, but I'm not going to do any builds that assume that for the time being. But if you wanted to come and stick in some, you know, prods or whatever, or speeds or whatever you fancy, that will be up to you. You're making a few, you might as well use them, but it would throw a lot of the ratios off, but not massively. Prod ones are, I quite like prod ones now. I never really used to use them, but and speed ones, but it just gives you a little bit extra for free, and you can just convert them into the higher levels, so you're not wasting them. And it doesn't tend to be. It's like with the furnaces; they slow them down by like 10%, and that's nothing really. So it doesn't massively affect your throughput. You just get a bit extra free. Have we backed up yet? Can I stop rabbiting? Let's just set this at a lower number so that we can test it. 5,000 is a good number, but it's perhaps a bit optimistic for this test. So now we're getting some oil coming through. It's not actually processing it, is it? Or is it? I mean, what's this? It's only obviously pumping it when it goes above the limit. Where's it going? Why is it going down to 965? I guess it must be pumping it, but the animation isn't playing. I guess it's so short that it doesn't play the animation. Because it's occasionally flicking on, but it's not. Yeah, and it's not over. It's not, you know, going up and up and up and up. So we are processing it all. It's just it's keeping the pipe full, basically. So, is this one now? Are all three of these now running? Yeah. See, they're running pretty much properly. Because we're processing all that oil. And it's all coming out of there. So we're good. Right, let's flip that back to 5,000. Okay, we'll just quickly test the other one, just to make sure I haven't messed up any of the pipes or anything. Right, so... Excuse me. In fact, let's reset these all together, since we know it works. Take that off of there. Move that up. And then we want a void on that one. In fact, let's just copy what we got there. That, and then we want a reducer here. That. And we want one of them. There. Modules take more power though. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're training power for a little bit of extra speed or time, but it's not a massive increase with level 1s. I mean, you know, 50% is a lot. You know, I'm not pretending it isn't, but 40%. You know, so it is a sufficient. So it's worth putting them in where they're needed. So, because what I'm thinking is you would get a few modules, and like engines where it's super slow and red circuits where it's super slow, you'd put them in there. You'd obviously put them in your science labs and your science itself. So it's where it's worthwhile. So you wouldn't put them in, you know, I mean, obviously you could if you wanted, but you know, you're talking like of the machines here, maybe half of them at the very most. I mean, very most. You probably wouldn't do that many. A third, maybe. And you know, you can always put just one prod module in basically, and all it does is it slows it down by, is it 5%? 5%, yeah. So it's almost negligible basically, the slowdown, and it gives you just that little bit of extra free stuff. And the idea is, because there's a power blueprint, but you would have put in, have I got it? No, you'd have put in a full steamer rate by now. I would suggest. Right, so is this one working? Should be. I mean, it's not rocket science. Okay, so happy with those two oil builds. As I was going to put in these as well. I'm not going to though. I've decided against that eventually. So we get rid of that. We can redo these things. Get rid of this for the time being, and I'll get them blueprinted. Get rid of that. And that. And this needs moving up again. Oh. Get rid of all of that so I don't accidentally include it. Cool. So these are our two oil blueprints. So this is your basic. Can I represent that? I could put a number 1, couldn't I? So that's oil 1. And then once you've done your advanced oil, which you can do almost immediately, then you've got number 2. Cool. So let's stick some defences around it. I think I'll move them up a bit. Give me a bit of playing room. What we really want is to defend this one, and then make sure I don't... I mean, it's obviously... It fits the same, so... It's just to make sure it's not... clashing with anything, which it shouldn't, because it's the same, basically. So, we want a wall here. I guess... How far up do we want to go? We could put it right up to the pipe, but... Not a fan of that. So we want a wall sort of there, maybe. Oops, there, maybe. And then, where would this be? So, I think I got rid of them, but I did have the standard, or the... Yeah, I got rid of them, didn't I? So, I've been using these little things here. I mean, you know me, I do that. I put it in everything. Yeah, so they're really great. I never used to say. I always used to just sort of leave modules until like level 3 modules, but that's a mistake. Really, you should use them. Obviously, you know, putting them in everything is you know, a great way to do it. But I say I tend to try and do it in the things that are slow or don't give very much product to start with, and then obviously by the end everything's got. Well, as you know, with the Megabase series, where basically I was 12 beaconing absolutely everything and pulling my hair out with, you know, trying to power it all, and 1.4 million solar panels, and it still didn't power it all. So yeah, they're for a mega base. Don't don't put them in everything, but or don't, you know, don't beacon everything, but. Because say you'll drive yourself nuts like I did, but yeah. So if these were just corners, I don't think just corners would cover it all, will it? So if we just had just corners, would that cover? Ooh, it's tight. So, and this is wrong place anyway. So this needs to be. In fact, let's try and use that power pole. So if that was that, and then we go down there. And then we want this one here. In fact, can I just paste it again? Yeah. Except I want to flip it, don't I? Which is that flip? Yeah. So that would be, say, there. And then that flip? Yep. How close should I put that? We do want a bit of walk room. So we do want sort of 2-tile, you know, for you to fit through, basically. So sort of there, maybe. And then that, and then... Is it that flip? No. That flip? Yeah. So where would this be? It needs to be in line with this. Like that. I'll take that up. So I say, do these cover... What's the coverage rate? It's not bad, is it? It's fine at this end. I'm happy at that end. Question is in the middle. I mean, it's not bad at all. In fact, let's look on a map. What does it? Oh, it's. So this is like, I mean, a spitter would spit at you from there and sort of be unchallenged, but what would it spit at? It wouldn't spit at the wall. It would try and come and spit at, you know, this, because it's the pollution source. I mean, what we could do, we could add in a radar. We can add in radars, and that often acts as a bit of a lure for spitters and, sorry, for biters. We could also add in a roboport. That might be a little challenging. Don't know that I got a nice space to put it. It would fit there, but that's right against the wall. I mean, we could move the wall up. But I've obviously got a bit of room here now. In fact, I've messed that up, haven't I? I was saying I wanted it. How have I managed that? Oh, it's because I've not put any walk room there. I've said walk around here, but no walk room here. I mean, if it was... Yeah, so this should be tighter anyway. So this should be... it's going to not like that. So we've got 2 tiles there. So it's the wall that should have been 2 tiles over. Okay. Okay. But then it interacts with that pipe, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. What did I do wrong there? No, the pipe's above it. So 1, 2... There. We want it there. So we need to tidy this up. What's wrong with that? Everything. So let's just take it out. Sort of redo it. So if we go back to that one and just redo them. That one there. And then flip that like that. No, like that. No, like that. It's a bit unfortunate with the 2 power bars, but there you go. Oh! I like 27 nuclear reactors, and that was, I mean, that was not. I mean, the base wasn't. I don't know if you. I guess you wouldn't have seen the last few, but I mean, I 1.4 million solar panels, and it wasn't supplying the base. I didn't have the nuclear running by that point, but the nuclear was only like the equivalent of about 25, about. Maybe about 10% of that would have been nuclear if I turned it on, so it wouldn't have made a lot of difference. And obviously you have the whole fluid mechanics issues. I don't think I did, unless I'm completely misremembering that. But no, it was like, I mean, at the end, I was using creative mode to just copy and paste solar panels in, because at one point I just left it running overnight in order to fill out like 200,000 solar panels just in. And clearing out the biters was just like an absolute slog. I'm making it seem like I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy the series, but I say by the end of it, I was just done. I was just not interested in playing that base anymore. It did work. I mean, it did basically work. I mean, well, it didn't actually, technically. If the goal was to, to have a base, which it had been, that did about 5,000 science of all the sciences. It couldn't do that because there wasn't actually enough power to run every science. I had to turn off the grey military science because it just couldn't run it. Basically, it was just if I had that running, there wasn't enough power in the base. So yeah, it was. I mean, I learned so much. It was really really useful from that point of view. But yeah, it was. Yeah, it was quite a thing. The question here is how many walls do I want in, basically? What gates? Because I don't really need a lot. I'm wondering about moving these down, basically. I mean, what we could do, we could just have a gate here. Because as you know, I tend to like the... I haven't got any gates. I don't think I've got any anymore. Took them out of my list. Yeah, there you go. I like the defences to look attractive. Yeah, so there's your ingress. There's your entry point. And what we got up here, you can't walk through. That's a bit rubbish, but fine. Now, do I put it in the middle? Can't get through at all. Blimey. Why won't it let me through there? There you go. do I just put this in line with this? Yeah, go on then. So the gates are offset from for that one. It's only tiny, this, anyway, so it's not a massive issue. But the question is whether I have gates sort of here. Oops. Or in the middle. I quite like the idea of having them more along here. Partly because the turrets are there. Oops. Yeah, let's go down that road. So it's all a bit over the top, really. But I like to do that with defences. It's one of the bits I enjoy the most. So I think I'll move these down a bit so that the idea would be, yeah, because what I've been doing, I've been putting like entryways, as it were, on each of the gate entries. Overlap them. Like that. And this is all a bit messy here. And we've got a bit of wiggle room. Well, the idea, I mean, how I've been thinking about it is you would then come along, put your walkway along there, say. So ideally, we would want that. And so ideally, we want this here. But unfortunately, that pipe is too long. So we could just put a cheeky little one there. Sorry, I know that's really, really, really loud. It's because it gives you like 1,000,000% mining speed. So you've got a slightly undefended power pole there, but that's fine. In fact, I don't want to do that. I want to grab that, run along there, align that, put that pipe in. Is it in the same place? Yeah. Get rid of that one. And then same here, so really we want this like above here. Can we do that? Of course not. Of course not. But we can sort of do that. Yeah, no, it doesn't work at all. Okay. So this then needs to be... Oh, I cut and pasted. Copy that, run that way, line it up. Okay, so we need to redo that one. We need to redo that one. But we'll get rid of, we don't need the defence is in this blueprint. No, shouldn't have done that. Should have just got rid of those directly. Get rid of those lights. Get rid of the gates and the walls and the stone brick. Save that. Check it out again. Don't really need that power pole. Should we keep the radar in it? It's a useful anchor point. Oh, I didn't put the blooming... Nuts. I didn't put the roboport in. Where the heck would I get a roboport in here? Now, I mean, technically we could put one there again still. Because don't even fit in that gap. So if we wanted to put one sort of here, we'd have to move this whole arrangement back to where it was. And then we got a great big gap of nothing. I think we'll have to leave that there. It's a bit rubbish. Yeah, just gonna have to leave it there. Okay, so I think we want the the radar. the robo radar. And then, how is that being powered? Well, that's annoying. Okay, we'll put another power pole in there. Oh, it's nearly 6 o'clock. I saw it on YouTube. Cool. Anyone on Discord? I did. Yeah. Sorry. I am so bad with Discord. I just don't pay attention with it. It's like my family has been. Well, they've been trying to get me to use WhatsApp, and I just don't. It just doesn't. How can I put it? I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's like things I think of, and then things I don't think of. It's like, you know, I'll check my email every day, but you know, and check Twitter sort of thing, but that's about it. I don't, you know, Reddit I only really check, for example, if I'm bored, you know, if I'm not doing anything, it's not part of a routine I've got in a sense, so I don't think about it. So I'm not sure I've opened Discord in months. I say it just doesn't. I mean, I should, because you know, I should, you know, do the Discord and stuff, but I know you set up a channel, didn't you, for the thing? But it just, I forget basically, and then it just doesn't occur to me. So sorry about that. I probably won't have seen your invite. I think I'm happy with that. So we're gonna have to redo this again, like that. So it's now got the radar in it, and then we'll have to redo this again. We could just turn the tiles off, get rid of them, but we need to get rid of the walls, we need to get rid of the turrets, we need to get rid of these, so wooden chests can go. That light, that power pole, that stuff there. These bits here. Need that power pole though. Is that right? That looks okay. And then we want, basically, if I just, what I usually do is I copy the whole thing in a blueprint, stick it down again, and then we can do it. In fact, let's put that symbol, and then just, I think I'm just using the regular turret as the thing to label it. And then we want to get rid of everything else. So we don't want them. Don't want that one. We'll leave the robot on the radar to help anchor it. Don't need those. I mean, we don't need any of the pipes. I didn't put the flooring down, did I? So don't need them. Oh, I didn't put blooming. Oh, that's annoying. I haven't put lights on the. What's on there? Okay, so that's wrong. Get rid of them. Like that. Don't need the pumps. Bombs. Didn't put lights on these. We want a light. Yeah. Well, let's put it there then. Put it there. It's just two lights. Two lights. That's all I've forgotten. What we can do then, we can get rid of walls and things. And then get rid of turrets. Turrets. Wooden boxes. So we need to get rid of these bits. So I think I can redo that one again with lights. Hope that's good. I'll do what I usually do and just check them over after the stream. But we want to get some bricks on this, some floor. All those bits in. And then perhaps there. Down there. Across there. There. Make sure that's all done. Just now. Okay. I'll check it out, but I say, like I say, I said to my family, you know, they basically forced me to do it. I was at gunpoint, and I was like, okay, I'll put it on, but I've not, you know, don't use it if it's some emergency or something, because there's a good chance I won't look at it for 4 months, you know. And it's just, I say, it's just some things just don't properly. I'm too old, I think. I'm just too stuck in certain routines and patterns, and it just some things just don't register with me in a sense as things I need to do. That feels like that's okay, so I will check it out, you know, post stream. We've got the tiles, we've got the power poles. Should I leave that one? No, let's take that one out. We've got the bits there to keep it anchored. Okay. There we go. So we didn't really get round to the green circuits build. I'm not 100% sure what to do with it, if I'm totally honest, because I think actually it's going to be better to rethink this and have the blue circuits here, the green circuits here, because we've got iron ore coming down here, iron plate coming down here, so we can use that to make the circuits. We've got copper very close somewhere. That's the copper lane. So copper is coming down here. But then it's not, you say, but it would be relatively easy to, would it? No, it wouldn't really, would it? Where else does the copper go? The copper goes down that one and across to this one, where it's a half lane. It's a half lane with iron plate though, isn't it? That's interesting. But then I'm doing a weird filtery thing there, so there's not really any access to it there. So yeah, it feels like I should use this space, I think, the green circuits, just, you know, just like a couple of machines basically, rather than do a build. But it's 6 o'clock and I need to go, so I'm not going to have time for that. Because there's plenty of space, we could definitely get in. I mean, you know. Oh, I say that. It might be a little tight. But then I could do some undergrounding and stuff. Oh, we could always do 1-to-1. We don't need to do thing like, you know, the old 1-to-1 and have the output sort of here or something. Need them further apart if we do that, don't we? And then, you know, say iron plate coming this way, copper coming this way. And then we could get what? 4 or 5 machines in there, in theory. What did my other one have in it? So it was like, is it? So, smelting. No, wrong thing. Kickstarter base. Smelting. So you see that only had 4 circuits, and it saturated half a lane, which is all that this is. It's like half a lane. And I was able to do them proper ratio. But yeah, we could probably fit 4 green ones in there. The tricky bit is the copper. How tricky would that actually be? Because we'd have a... It's really messy though, isn't it, if I start doing that sort of thing. I mean, no, I couldn't do that. I was going to say I could make this half and half, but then there wouldn't be enough iron on this to feed all of these machines. We'd also have to get the green circuits up somehow. Feels like what I'm heading towards is that we make the walls, you know, a couple of tiles over basically. So if I make that sort of 2 tiles over, then that gives me, I can have a bit of space here basically to take a branch of the copper and also feed up the green circuit, so we can have the copper, you know, branched somewhere and somehow, you know, going down there, green circuit's going back again. Couldn't put them on the same lane because they're going opposite directions, but it's not a problem. And then there's loads of, I mean, this is iron plate, you know. I think that's iron plate as well. No, that's gears. So what's in there? Oh, that's the stone brick. Yeah, okay. So yeah, 6 o'clock. So that was the stream for today. It's also, this series will go on, well, it's not hiatus, but basically I won't be streaming this series next week. I might just show it. But basically instead I'll say I will come back. I'll properly test out the oil, name everything, tidy it up. So that's all boring stuff that you wouldn't want to watch anyway. But there's 2 options basically. I can revive my Factorio 2 playthrough. I didn't get very far on that at all. It's literally 2 streams of me floundering around, not really. As you see, it's 4.5 hours in. So I've not done that much on that at all. But it would make some sense to just keep it going rather than start again. Because I don't know that I'm going to do anything particularly different. It didn't collect, you know, I wasn't getting overrun with biters or anything. It was just the extra complexity of the thing was, you know, meant it's taking longer because I'm learning it as I go. The other option, which is what I think I will do, but I should really do a bit more. Should I? No, I finished it, I think. Is the aesthetic build. Excuse me, where I've got all these mods on. And basically, as you can sort of see here, I've got to the stage where basically the science is up here somewhere. So we're sort of ready to rock and roll, basically, and plough through all the sciences. Or, you know, next few series. So I would quite like to keep that one going. And once the sciences are done, or mostly done, to where I want to get them to, then we can start pushing out and clearing out. Basically, I need to get up to like artillery so I can just wipe out big swathes of the map, all the biters on the map. And then we'll start building some of these like aesthetics, these pretty factories that I want to build. So I'll decide which one we're going to do. But I'll be back tomorrow with Dyson Sphere Program, where we're doing super well. We are building the Dyson Sphere, and we're building it at quite a rate now. The plan for tomorrow, I've decided, is to start the science rework. So we'll scale up the science and build it with the idea that we're going to add the white cubes on. What I really want to do, I think, with the science is basically have either a system, meaning all the planets and all the star, dedicated to one science each, so some close-by systems, and we'll just basically completely rework or redo the system to produce that science, is sort of what I'm thinking. It may well be more like one of the planets does, you know, red science and one does green science, or maybe red and green are both in one system and, you know, blue's in another, and those, not red and green, red and blue and, you know, yellow in another, something like that. But I'd quite like to do the science being completely remote on some other system and gets flown in, and then the home planet is the final few sciences we need to do and the white science. So yeah, so we'll start that process tomorrow. We certainly won't finish it, but yeah, we're chugging away with the Dyson Sphere itself, and that should just tick along in the background for several episodes. And we're starting to get on top of the power problem as such, so that's going really well, that series. Yeah, so next series should be Factorio. Yes, so I say it won't be this one next week, I don't think. I mean, I might do the mock playthrough as on the Saturday and then Aesthetic on the Sunday. Don't know, maybe. The idea is to have options. Or I might revive Crashtorio. I don't know. Yeah, so I say Factorio will return next weekend, as per usual. And Dyson Sphere program tomorrow to round out the weekend. Good to see you again, Ultimate Plays. Thanks for dropping by. And good to chat you and know you're okay, etc. And I hope you get, well, say you're okay with your COVID, but I hope it goes okay still. And thanks to everyone else, or anyone else who's been watching. Oh, I should put my schedule up, shouldn't I? So basically, there you go. So this is what I was, oh, it's not got the camera on it. This is because I messed up the camera. So I'm not here anymore. I am here, but I'm not here. Yeah, so if you wanted to find me, you can find me on Twitch at Trismegistus, and you can follow me there. Or I also have a YouTube channel, which is Trismegistus, but it's alias to Triggles. I really need to see if I can change my username on Twitch. I'd prefer to go to Triggles, basically, but yeah, they should be consistent, really. But I do know Trismegistus, it's very hard to say. So, yeah, so that's the schedule and where you can find me. Eventually, as I say, I'm hoping to redo my website as well, and that'll be a good hub. There is also, I guess, the Discord, but as I say, I just completely forget about it all the time, which is a terrible thing for me to say as a streamer. But there you go. Yes, so let's plot back to this. Yeah, so if you have been watching, thanks for doing so. I hope you enjoyed it and you might consider coming back for another one. I've been Trismegistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching. Cheers.